Europe, a land often romanticized for its art, architecture, and peaceful landscapes. But what if we told you that behind the postcard perfect views lies a far more dangerous reality? From civil unrest and political instability to rising crime and active conflict zones, certain European countries are currently battling threats that most travelers don't see coming. In this video, we'll uncover the 10 most dangerous countries in Europe right now, ranked based on official travel advisories, recent incidents, and global risk reports. Whether you're planning your next trip or just curious about the hidden dangers across the continent, this video will give you a fresh perspective. Stick around, because the truth might just surprise you.
Number 10. Ukraine.
Unsurprisingly, Ukraine remains one of the most dangerous places in Europe. The Russia-Ukraine war continues to rage in eastern and southern regions. Civilian casualties are reported almost daily. Air raid sirens are a constant reminder of danger in Kiev, Kharkiv, and Odessa. Over 8 million Ukrainians have fled the country since 2022. Infrastructure like hospitals, schools, and power plants have been destroyed. The eastern Donbas region is effectively a war zone. Landmines and unexploded ordnance make rural travel extremely risky. Russian missile attacks target both military and civilian areas. Martial law remains in place. US and UK travel advisories: do not travel. Many foreign governments have suspended embassy services. Train travel is sporadic and often delayed due to military operations. Cities like Lviv remain relatively safer but not immune. Tourism is at a historic low, but some journalists and volunteers still enter. Despite the war, Ukrainians remain fiercely resilient. Cultural pride has only grown stronger under pressure. Kiev's architecture and resilience tell a story of survival. Many areas lack electricity and clean water for days at a time. Foreign nationals risk being caught in bombings or checkpoints. Air travel to Ukraine is suspended indefinitely. Aid workers must follow strict security protocols. This is a country fighting for its future, every single day. If you're not an essential worker or part of humanitarian aid, stay out. Ukraine's danger level is among the highest in the world. This isn't just a travel warning, it's a red zone.
Number 9.
Turkey straddles Europe and Asia, and with it, straddles instability. The southeast border with Syria is an active military zone. Terrorist attacks in Istanbul and Ankara have rattled tourists. Kurdish separatist conflict, PKK, continues to fuel unrest. Earthquakes have recently devastated southern regions, adding chaos. In 2024, over 50,000 people were displaced due to natural and political crises. The government has cracked down hard on dissent. Social media blackouts are frequent during unrest. LGBTQ+ travelers report harassment and discrimination. Tourist scams in major cities are common. US travel advisory: reconsider travel to parts of Turkey. Crime rates are lower in coastal towns but higher in major urban hubs. Syrian refugee camps create humanitarian strain in border areas. Anti-government protests are growing louder. The Hagia Sophia and Cappadocia remain stunning but surrounded by uncertainty. Tourists have been detained for political speech, yes, even tweets. Always register with your embassy if you plan to visit. Steer clear of protests or political gatherings. The Turkish lira continues to crash, adding economic stress. Gangs and organized crime are growing in cities like Izmir. Despite everything, tourism is rebounding cautiously. Be respectful of cultural sensitivities. Avoid military zones and border areas at all costs. If Turkey is on your list, do your homework and stay updated.
Number 8.
Albania is a land of mountains, beaches, and rising crime rates. It's one of Europe's key narcotics transit countries. The Albanian mafia has influence far beyond its borders. Gangs engage in human trafficking, drug smuggling, and arms trading. While tourists are not usually targets, getting caught in crossfire is a risk. Tirana has seen a rise in armed robberies and burglaries. The rural north is largely lawless, with clan feuds still in play. Blood feuds, or Jack Maria, remain a threat in remote areas. Carjackings and fraud are also common scams. Corruption is endemic even among the police. US advisory: Level 2 exercise increased caution. Tourism is growing fast, especially along the coast. But infrastructure struggles to keep up with safety needs. Road accidents are frequent. Albania has one of the worst road safety records in Europe. Local drivers rarely follow traffic laws. Number 7. Bosnia and Herzegovina. This Balkan beauty hides a dark undercurrent of tension. Ethnic divisions remain deep, even 30 years after the war. Republika Srpska continues to threaten secession from the country. Militant rhetoric from politicians is fueling unrest. Corruption runs through the entire political system. Criminal groups often operate without consequence. Sarajevo is relatively safe, but rural areas less so. Landmines still dot the countryside, over 180,000 remain. Gang violence is on the rise in cities like Mostar and Banja Luka. The EU has warned of potential armed conflict if tensions escalate. Police forces are underfunded and politically divided. Protests occasionally turn violent. Ethnic tensions between Bosniaks, Croats, and Serbs flare regularly. Human trafficking and drug trade flourish in shadowy corners.
Number 6. Russia.
The European part of Russia, including Moscow and St. Petersburg, is high risk. With the ongoing war in Ukraine, anti-Western sentiment is increasing. Foreigners may be detained on false charges. Surveillance is everywhere. Privacy is a myth. Journalists, tourists, even influencers have been arrested. Public protests are crushed violently. LGBTQ+ rights are heavily repressed. Corruption is systemic from traffic cops to federal agencies. Organized crime operates with impunity in many sectors. Visa and registration procedures are strict and confusing. U.S. advisory: do not travel. Arbitrary detentions and harassment are reported by multiple embassies. Cybercrime is a growing threat. Protect your devices and data. Pro-Putin rallies dominate public discourse. You could be labeled a spy simply for having a camera. Be extremely cautious about who you talk to and what you say. Most international flights to Russia have been suspended. Tensions with the West continue to escalate. While parts of Russia are stunning, now is not the time. The risk far outweighs the reward. For now, Russia is a no-go zone.
Number 5. Moldova.
Tucked between Ukraine and Romania, Moldova faces major instability. Transnistria, a Russian-backed breakaway state, remains a powder keg. Russian troops are still stationed there, despite international protests. Tensions with Ukraine are rising due to refugee flow and border issues. The government is fragile and corruption is rampant. Organized crime networks are deeply embedded in the economy. Moldova is Europe's poorest country. Internet scams and identity theft are rising rapidly. Political protests are frequent in Chisinau. Electricity shortages are common, especially in winter. Infrastructure is crumbling in rural regions. Landmines near the Ukrainian border present a physical risk. U.S. advisory: reconsider travel near border zones.
Number 4.
Kosovo remains Europe's most dangerous flashpoint. Armed clashes with Serbia occurred just months ago. NATO peacekeepers were injured in recent border violence. Ethnic tensions between Albanians and Serbs are at an all-time high. Armed groups still operate in the north. Public trust in police is minimal. Protests often escalate into riots. Extremist cells have been discovered in rural mosques. Travel to North Mitrovica is highly discouraged. U.S. advisory: reconsider travel. Roads are poorly maintained and checkpoints are frequent. The 2008 independence remains contested by Serbia and Russia. Serbia has moved troops closer to the border repeatedly.
Number 3. Greece.
Once a beacon of ancient wisdom, Greece now battles economic fragility and spikes in petty crimes. Tourist scams, pickpocketing in Athens, and increasing protests have earned it a spot. Over 10,000 protests recorded in the last 2 years. Refugee influx in islands like Lesbos has strained resources and led to tensions. The anarchist neighborhood of Exarchia is known for clashes with police. Unemployment remains high, especially among youth. Cultural highlights still shine. The Acropolis, Santorini, and Delphi are iconic. But even those areas require caution now. Terrorist risk is low, but civil unrest is growing. U.S. travel advisory level 2 exercise increased caution.
Number 2.
You'd think France would be all croissants and Eiffel Towers, but beneath the surface, things are tense. The 2024 riots across Paris shocked the world. Police stations and public buildings were torched in Lyon and Marseille. Over 20,000 arrests were made in the summer of 2024 alone. France has faced over 30 terror incidents since 2015. While ISIS-related attacks have decreased, lone wolf threats remain. Immigration issues fuel the ongoing political debate. Crime in Paris metro stations is rampant, especially after dark. U.S. travel advisory level 2. The Yellow Vest movement still sees sporadic resurgence.
Number 1.
Serbia walks a tightrope between past war wounds and present instability. Ethnic tensions still simmer, especially with Kosovo. NATO presence in the region is a reminder of past conflict. Armed clashes occurred in northern Kosovo in late 2024. Nationalist protests erupted in Belgrade after border disputes. Organized crime is a serious issue, especially in drug trafficking. Gangs in Novi Sad and NIS are linked to the Albanian mafia. Political freedom is shrinking under authoritarian leadership. Journalists report intimidation and violence. Violent crime rate, up 12% year-over-year. EU membership talks are stalled, adding to the unrest. Europe may be a continent of culture, history, and charm, but beneath the postcards and Instagram filters lies a deeper reality. These 10 countries face rising crime, political unrest, and unpredictable events. That doesn't mean you should never visit, but it does mean you must be informed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a deep dive like this again.